Well, I got up and went over to my mom's and teased her with the brand new shoes that I bought. She had just had knee surgery. And took my kids to Sonic. We got tater tots and cherry vanilla limeades. And we took them to the park. It was really nice. And I was sitting on a bench and I would get up and go push them on the swing. And they got to a point where they were racing up these 3 slides. They were right in front of me, so I just sat down on the bench. And I just sat there. I don't even remember how long, but I had my legs up on the bench. It was sunny, and I thought, sun's out, get a tan. And I was looking around at one point, and I noticed a man walking around the baseball fields. And there were so many people, I just never thought anything about it. I mean, there were so many people there. And I sat there, and I don't know, a couple of minutes later, I felt the feeling of somebody behind me. I thought, he's just walking around me. And the next thing I know, it felt like I'd been hit with a baseball bat. And at first, that's what I thought he'd done, was hit me with a bat, because it knocked my breath out, and I just couldn't talk, couldn't yell. And I just sat there for a second, and I immediately lost sensation in my legs. So I reached my fingers through the holes in the bench to hold myself up. And I reached back through my other hand and I felt blood, and that's when I started calling for help.
Who came to your rescue?
A lady named Caitlin Porter. She came over to me and she put a jacket on my back, and she did a really awesome job. She pretty much stopped the bleeding while I was sitting there. She was just amazing. God really puts people in places at certain times, and she was there to help me.
At what point did you realize exactly what had happened?
Somebody told me. When I saw the blood, I thought maybe I'd been shot, because it was just such a shock. My body was just, it was just such a shock. And she told me, she was, "You've been stabbed." And I was just, you never think to hear the words, "You've been stabbed." Not in Stephenville, not at the park, certainly not in one of your kids.
At what point did your children respond?
Pretty immediately, because they were playing on the slides right in front of me. And I was told my daughter saw it happen. I don't know, because my eyes were not exactly on them.
How did they react?
My daughter was, she was just, I could just hear her, "Is Mom going to die? Is my mom going to die?" And Caitlin kept telling her, "No, she's not going to die." And I kept just telling her, "Olivia, I'm fine. Just got cut, I'm fine. It's just a cut, we're going to the hospital."
Did you think everything was going to be fine?
I thought I'd live. I just remember thinking, just breathe, because you don't know what he's done. You don't know how much damage he's done. So I was just trying to stay as calm as I could. And I honestly, deep down, I didn't think I'd die. I knew it was bad. But I was like, my biggest fear was not in front of my kids, not at the park.
What do you think about the man who did this to you?
I think he's an extremely sick individual. And I think everybody should be held accountable for the things that they do. But I think that people failed him. I think that he asked for help, and people failed him. I'm not saying he's not to blame, because certainly you have to be responsible for what you do. But he needed help, and nobody helped him for whatever reason. The reason's irrelevant.
How do you ever explain this to your kids?
My son is 4, and The only thing he really thinks is mommy's not at home. I can't climb all over her. But he's taken it really well. My 8-year-old is very upset about it. She knows that I'm not walking right now. And I just tell him, you know, this is not the end. We are still going to be happy. I'm alive. They're alive. I can use my hands. You know, we're going to be happy. And we're not, you know, this is not the end of the world for us. We're way too strong. My family is way too strong for this to be something that brings us down.
Can you describe the extent of your injuries? I know you begin rehabilitation while you're in Dallas.
I honestly, the only thing I know about my injuries is that 90% of my spinal cord was, all the other medical stuff, I don't know much about.
Brandi, we can tell a little bit that you're kind of struggling to breathe. Can you tell us a little bit of what you're feeling and how difficult it is just to talk with someone?
I just feel really short of breath. And I guess it's just because I've laid down. I've tried to sit up a lot more to build my endurance. But I'm just not used to taking deep breaths. It's really sad because I ran every night. And I was physically active. So now for me to be having trouble talking is just, because I like to talk. So not talking is like not fun, but it's just hard to breathe.
Do you think the fact you're so physically active will help you in this situation?
I believe so. I believe it's going to help me in the future too. I believe I'm a very active person. I've never been one to sit around and do nothing. I've worked, my whole life, so I really think that it's helping me now, but I really think that when I go to rehab, it's really going to make a ton of difference for me.
What do you think about all the interest in your story?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I never in a million years, I know people care. I knew people cared about me in Stephenville, but I never in a million years would have imagined that people had such big hearts. And they do have truly big hearts. And it's just, it's extremely encouraging. And it helps me every day to hear from people and know that people care about what happens to, a mother of two from a small town.
You join the website now?
I do. My friends set up a website. It's www.branditodd.com.
Brandi with an I.
It's Brandi with an I. And my friends are just amazing. I have so many of them. And they come up from work every day. They've stayed with me, kept me company. They've encouraged me and my family, because this just didn't happen to me. It happened to my kids, my mom and my dad. Everybody that's around me. This has happened to.
What do you think is the source of the strength that we see in your future?
I would have to say, I can only say that God really has given me the strength. I've always considered myself to be very strong. I've always considered myself to be a very positive person. I really don't know where it comes from. That would be the only logical explanation in my mind that I could come up with.
Why have you decided to go public and talk with us today?
I guess just because people need to know that there are people out there that need help. And the system failed this man. He needed help. He asked for help. And for whatever reason, he didn't get it. And right now that reason is really irrelevant to me.